welcome in, welcome all, everybody, back to the Like That podcast, episode 15. We are officially in the wild card, officially in playoff season, boys. How are we feeling? Sorry, I didn't even introduce myself. As always, my name is Brooke. Here with Brooke. I'm Brooke. My name is Brooklyn. Here with my co-host Nico and Nick. Guys, how are you feeling for this official now into the playoffs series of football?
Intro's not easy, is it?
No.
Seems easy, but it never is. Never is. I feel like it never rolls off the tongue well.
That was the dry run. My name is Brooke.
Yeah, Brooke. I'm feeling good. It's weird to look at the slate and only see 6 games, but at the very least, the season for us doing like covering it felt long, which is I feel like in most years it's more the opposite. Like you're like, wow, the season flew by. And I take that a light way. I really absorbed a lot of football this year, and we're about to get the best of it. So I'm hyped.
Yeah. First of all, missed you guys last week. Had holiday stuff. Sorry I couldn't be here, but it was a good episode. You guys had a lot of good solid picks last week. Sadly mine didn't hit, but
How much of the
what are you
episode
gonna
did you
do?
listen to?
I was gonna say you listened to the entire thing. Yeah, right.
No. I listen to a good amount of it. I always keep up with the clips on social media at like that pod. But
Underscore.
it's kind of crazy that this is episode 15. That I feel like it flew by. I've to me this has definitely been the most entertaining NFL season in the last few years, and that's maybe also just because we started doing this podcast. So I've been able to really enjoy the games each week, even the bad ones. The ones that we've said that we think are going to be bad have actually turned out to be pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to get into the slate of games. And yeah, I have some pretty good picks this week.
Nico, I will continue on with the open here, and then I'll hand it off to you to actually start breaking down the matchups. But yeah, going off of Nick, this has been one of the better seasons of football that I've actually watched, and partly because we do a podcast, we're very invested in what we're talking about. But like I said it last week, like this every week has given us a game where we're like, that's the game of the year type of like play. Like this past week, we just saw with the Steelers and the Ravens how it came down to the kick from Loop, and that fourth quarter was absolutely nuts. The back and forth. But yeah, no, this has definitely been one of the most entertaining years of football I've ever seen. Really quick, just going to recap things. Going through the spreadsheet now officially through the regular season. We did start in week 5. However, obviously we have a spreadsheet. We try to pick the spreads of the week and try to see just how many we can all get right individually. And Nick, you are by a very narrow margin here, as opposed to Nico. Almost. Are you guys tied? I don't think you're tied, but I believe Nick is the winner for our spreadsheet here in the regular season from week 5 on to the end. So congratulations to Nick. I'll get you something. I'll get you a bouquet of flowers or something.
Wait, we did
Oh,
tie.
dude.
We did tie. Hold
I
the
was looking
phone.
at the percentages. You guys are spot on.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
what the
also
hell?
Maybe.
complete side note. Your webcam's lagging a little bit. I had a little I don't know if I lagged or if it was you, but there was a little there.
For me.
Yeah, breaking the fourth wall here real quick. Yeah, but talk.
Oh, not surprised.
I gotta
I'm
zoom
here.
in and look.
I'm here.
All right, yeah, I think you better now.
Yeah.
But no, it came down to the Monday night game. Like, both of you guys were on Baltimore, and I was on
right.
Pittsburgh. And
You guys are spot
That's
on,
right.
really tied percentage-wise, which is insane. You both have 100 right out of the 201. Me coming a little behind them with 97 picks out of the 201, which that doesn't sound so pretty, but all of us basically on the verge of 50% for our first year doing the pod. Not going to really take that too personally. I think that's honestly pretty impressive that we were able to come in there and all
Fuck
almost come here
week
and
11.
away.
That's all I have to say. Fuck week 11. Week 11 was the worst week of football of my life, but that's it.
yeah, we'll be doing an episode around a Pro Bowl or Pro Bowl week, talking like kind of debriefing our picks throughout the year, seeing what went well, what did not. But I think I asked you guys both this off camera. But now doing this for 15 weeks, what is like your biggest takeaway? Because for me, it was, and it's kind of ironic when I talk about my pick of the week here, but for me it was double digit spreads are not your friends. You know, like most of the time, even when you think there's an ass whooping out there, that you know the dog more than 50% of the time this year covered a double digit spread. So that's something that I think that was my biggest takeaway from this season.
Yeah. No, I'm honestly in the same boat there. There are a lot of weeks where like no, I mean I wouldn't say a lot of weeks, but obviously, when you have some teams that are mismatched and we saw a ton of double digit spreads. One of them was my pick of the week for Buffalo against Cleveland. You really can never trust a number that's over a touchdown. And even then, sometimes that touchdown is kind of pushing it. So my biggest takeaway was like you got to avoid those double digits no matter what you think you know. There's so much unknown to a double digit number like that with a spread where it's that big. Like no, it's just a major stay away from me now.
For me, it was the fact that a lot of teams that were on the road this year were really good against the spread. Patriots, I mean, were a prime example of it. They were one of the best road teams in the league this year. But I felt like any time that there was an underdog that had like a spread of 4.5 or at least 5, 9 times out of 10, it was close or they would cover. That was kind of my biggest takeaway. A lot of road dogs this year were kind of the favorites going into the games, and especially like early on in the lines too. A lot of the lines, there was a lot of line changes too this year. Um,
Mm.
Very last minute. I mean, if you look at the Packers game, for example, last week, I mean, that line opened up at 7 and went all the way up to almost 14
No,
in
last
like
week
2 days.
last week was crazy because like I took
Yeah.
honestly perfect segue for us to start talking about our picks of the week from last week. Because like yeah, mine of the Rams at 8.5. By the time we got to game time, it was 14. Bills that we
Yeah,
talked
that's
about on the
insane.
podcast. We all had Bills at 7.5. That line opened or before game time went up to 14 with Mitch Trubisky behind the helm, and it was still an ass whooping. Um, so you had the Rams success there. If you did listen to the podcast, I do fear that yes, unfortunately, your pick of the week did not hit, but unfortunately, the two people that were recording that episode were not standing with you on that pick. So,
I know. No, I know. It's okay.
and
That
then
line also, when I took it, was at 7.5, and then at game time, it went to 9.5.
well, I just went Rams for a little bit. It didn't look pretty till close to late in the second half. And then Brooklyn
I
took care
wouldn't
of
say.
business with Seattle.
Well, I mean, sure, but I wouldn't even say that. Like that game was 13-3. That game was literally up and like decided by a Charbonnet touchdown earlier, and then a matter of like if the 49ers could do anything, which like I guess I was right that the Seahawks defense was going to really limit production. I didn't think they were going to be stopped at 3. So that's a classic primetime game right there.
Yeah, no.
Both teams don't do much of anything.
And yeah, so it's a little bit of a shorter episode, only 6 games to talk about, but we do have a little mini game that we were talking about last week about throwing in. Just wanted to throw a pretty simple first game on the pod, which even for Spotify listeners, you should have the visual there. So as long as you're not driving while listening to this, you should be able to join part in this game.
I do that, and sometimes
No,
I'll
you,
turn on the video
you,
portion, and I'm like, let me watch myself, and I'm like, oh, I'm driving like 55 on the highway.
You're like, oh, my hair looked bad
I just
there.
want to see how I look.
Swerve.
Yeah.
But yeah,
How my hair looks.
jumping into the matchups. First game of the playoffs for the Like That Pod. A 4:30 matchup on Saturday. A matchup that I just talked about. Double-digit spreads are not our friends. But I need somebody to press that button for me real quick.
Is it? Oh.
We got a pick of the week.
Forgot
I
to
didn't see
update
you
it.
switch it.
Yeah, I forgot to update it in the doc, but I did on the spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Um,
that's why I was very confused.
I was-
I didn't know which button.
With 6 games, the slate had me so torn. But then after debating it for so long, literally, made this decision 20 minutes before we started recording, if that. It's, the Rams have been the best team all year. They've been the number 1 team against the spread. They have a team that is still top, 3 on offensive EPA and a top 10 defense. Playing a playoff team that has a minus 69 point differential. One of the worst ever to make the playoffs. Not only that, but in non-divisional playoff games this year, they were 2-5, averaging 10.2 points per game. And I know what you're thinking. Nico, we saw the Rams go into Carolina, and the Panthers took care of business. And I say that Stafford threw a pick in the end zone that got tipped, and they had a pick 6. lot of uncertainties there. But at the end of the day, I said these large spreads are scary, but if there is a time to take a large spread, it's going to be for, in my opinion, the best team in football.
I'll go first here because I am the only person not on the side there. I mean, I'm not doubting in any sort that the Rams come out on top of this one. But I am gonna kind of go with my statement that I can't really trust double digit spreads. And for a team like Carolina, I know they have been so unpredictable, and at the same time, they kind of don't really deserve to be a playoff team. Like, I just find it hard to believe with a game that's this big for them at home, that it's just going to be one where the Rams just like completely easily roll through by more than 10 points. So, I could easily be proven wrong here. The Rams are one of the most dominant teams in the league right now, and I do think that they win the game regardless. I just can't really put my money on anything over 10.
I'm with Nico here on the Rams. I also think that the Rams are the best team in football. I think that they're probably going to win the Super Bowl this year. Sorry if I spoiled anything that you were going to ask earlier, but um, I, this Carolina team, they made it this far. It was great. They won a division, but they have a lot to prove, especially in this game. I mean, it really all depends on how Bryce Young is going to perform in this game. And I mean, there's a lot of pressure going on him. I mean, just not even 2 seasons ago, he was getting benched. People were calling him a bust. I mean, now he's leading Carolina into a wild card game, but against it's against the best offensive team statistically in the NFL. I mean, yeah, last matchup, like Nico mentioned, the 2 turnovers by Stafford. I don't think that happens again. And I think when Sean McVay is your coach, I think you have a strong chance of at least covering 10.5 against a team that you got embarrassed by already in the regular season, and now you have a chance to go up against again, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, no. Another thing to include as well. No players to watch for the playoffs. We're gonna be doing some props per game. But yeah, I think it's funny how you say, like, you mentioned 10.5 is like a small number, which I love that. Absolutely love that. Um,
I
my
absolutely trust Sean McVay to clear 10.5.
This is the confidence we've been asking for. You ask what's one thing you took
I
away
just
from this
say-
NFL season? You've
this
gained your
Rams-
confidence.
This Rams offense. I mean, Devontae Adams is coming back healthy. Excuse me. He's had a few weeks to rest up. The hamstring injury. If he's back to 100%, Matthew Stafford is gonna look like how he has been all regular season as an MVP contender, especially going into this Saturday.
Yeah. I mean,
And I'm confident on that.
he's essentially locked up I don't want to say locked up the MVP, but I think right now he sits at like minus 135. May was at plus 100. The MVP race as it stands is basically just, I'd say, rate the advanced stats people versus the totals people. People see Stafford with the more yards, the more passing touchdowns, and they get lit up over that. Whereas the analytics guys see the EPA per play, EPA per drop back, and the overall efficiency from Drake May. But according to casinos, it's Stafford's award to lose. My prop for this game, though, getting back to it, I'm going to take Devontae Adams under 4.5 receptions, currently at minus 150. He has gone over this line 5 times this season, twice since the beginning of November. In a script where they're going to be up a lot, and we've seen this team, again, just last week, put up a decent amount of scoring without Devontae Adams on the field. I think he'll be there, but I don't think this is a game where you're necessarily going to need to put him out for so long. So I think on limited usage, under 4.5 for how much it's hit already this year, I really like it this week.
Fair.
I like it. I like.
Yeah, you got it, Nick.
Oh, I was just going in the order of how it's written.
No, you're
but
good.
You can go if you want.
No, you're good.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm going with also a Ram, going with Kobe Parkinson over 18.5 receiving yards. This is at minus 114 on DraftKings. He's currently averaging 35 receiving yards in his last 10, and he's hit this line in his last 5. Carolina is ranked 14th against tight ends this season. I think this is a game where Stafford's going to sling the ball. Colby Parkinson, if he's open, he's going to get it. And I mean, the stats have showed that he's been able to cover this line pretty well throughout the year, and he's hit this line 60% this season. So more than half.
And, without Kyron Williams, we basically just got the Rams offense here for props. So the odds of one of these not happening, I feel like, is high. But going going to mine, gonna go Puka. Puka in an over of 26.5 in his longest reception. He's cleared this 5 times this year, and I know Devontae Adams coming back might make you think like that's gonna draw more attention to Adams for sure. But that's just one more person that the Panthers are gonna have to keep tabs on. And Puka, been full of explosive plays this year. Regardless of Adams coming back here, he had last time they played Carolina, he had that ridiculous like one-handed 31-yard catch. I think for him to get another deep ball this game in a game where I do think there's going to be a lot of scoring on the Rams side, he might be geared up to have a pretty long touchdown. So
I don't like the disbelief that we can go 3 for 3. If Devontae's not getting the ball, it's got to be going to somewhere.
It is possible. The fact that you have a Devontae Adams under is the one thing that's keeping me optimistic about it. If you had a Devontae Adams over 4.5, Colby Parkinson over 18.5, and Puka's over 26.5 longest, I'm like,
it's just
the Rams
the greatest show on turf all over again.
Moving forward, we got Saturday Night Football. The third time we've seen these teams face off this year. It's going to be the Packers at the Bears. Bears plus 1.5. We've already seen this line flip. I think Bears opened as favorites. Green Bay looking like they're going to be decently healthy, but there are still some question marks around the O-line specifically. And looking at it here, in the last 2 matchups, we saw Green Bay take care of business by 7 points in their first matchup of the year, and then obviously what a pretty stinker of a game that it was, but that's due to, I'm talking about in their second game of the year. Malik Willis enters the game for an injured Jordan Love, and the Bears get a very sneaky win there. Shout out that Walker touchdown that Brooklyn placed. I still find that unreal. But plus 1.5 here. This is another one I almost wanted to take. At one point Green Bay was my lock, and now I'm on the side of Chicago. Why, you may ask? Green Bay has not been a very strong defensive unit on the road. They rank bottom 10 when playing on the road. Whereas for Chicago, they're 6-2 at home this year, with one of those losses being at the very beginning of the year. Which, if we count that Raiders loss or the Patriots loss to the Raiders, is kind of fluky as it is. A Bears team that was still under a first-year head coach, Caleb Williams understanding the offense. They're the new style offense. This is just a team that's done very well at home. And taking them as dogs here, home underdogs have kind of been my bread and butter this year. I think it's been my highest hit rate of everything on the spreadsheet. So I think Chicago advances to the next round.
I am on Green Bay. I stayed on Green Bay. No, you flipped, but I'm sticking with them. Jordan Love didn't play last week. I know he had a concussion, but he's coming back fully healthy. Josh Jacobs also got a week off. All their starters basically took last week off. They already clinched. There was really no reason to win that game against Minnesota. So they've had time to prepare. I know this. With Micah Parsons not being on your defense, obviously it's going to take a major hit. But I still think with the factor of their offense coming in fully healthy, Luke Musgrave has actually taken a big step up since Tucker Kraft has gone down. Romeo Doubs really hasn't lost a step. I think Jaden Reed, I know we've been talking about him having his breakout game. I think this is where he makes a big difference, especially with how beat up this defense is. The total's at 45.5. It's a very high total for this game, but with the line being so close at -1.5, I'm leaning Green Bay on the road here. I know with injuries, they've been tough, but especially at the beginning of the season, offensively, they looked really good, and they're a really good team at controlling the football. So I think if Josh Jacobs is able to run the football effectively, I think it's a matter of possession in this game. So I'm leaning Green Bay.
To be honest, this is one for me where I'm seeing a very narrow spread, and I really want to roll with the underdog just because I think that's honestly the better value here. That on top of the fact that Green Bay defense, with Parsons being gone, is huge because Caleb loves to run, right? And if you don't got your top edge rusher out of there and the guy who's going to be able to hawk him down, like Caleb is a but then also make a massive play on the run. He does that every single week, regardless of what happened in that game against Detroit. He started to turn up real late. I'm still liking the fact that Chicago has a decent amount. Like, there's nothing really changed in the way they play week by week. And frankly, both defenses don't really have anything to brag about, right? The Packers have let up a lot of points in games, especially within the last 5 weeks, excluding Minnesota last week. But to their own right, the Bears also don't have necessarily a defensive unit that anyone's really scared of. I just like the consistent momentum of the Bears play the same way every single week. That kind of gives them an advantage over, a Packers team that's kind of been a little fluky. Also, 4 losses in a row throughout the last couple of weeks. The last win being against Chicago back on week 14, where they won by a touchdown. So this is a very even matchup to me. I'm going to roll with Chicago. Honestly, having a chance to I guess, have an upset, but again, I think these teams are pretty even.
Yeah, I was with you there. At the end of the day, I feel like when it comes to all sports, you take health into consideration. I think home field advantage does, it's like flipping a coin. One side of the coin is technically, you do have, it's not 50-50 odds 100%, and that's kind of how I feel about home field in this way. And yeah, I think the Bears are healthier. They've got a little bit more momentum. So I'm with you with Chicago. My prop for this game is going to be Colston Loveland, 4+ receptions. He has had 5 targets since the middle of November in each game. And the last 2 weeks, we've seen a combined 23 targets, 16 of those being catches. We've seen the receiving room not be its healthiest, but Loveland's, stepped up a big way to become one of the main focal points in the offense. And I think that continues.
All right. I'll take it off again. I thought Brooklyn wanted to go first.
All right, I didn't know we're going bottom up now. Okay.
No, it's. Oh yeah. I didn't know that either. I'm also on a bear. I'm with actually. Fun fact: I took the same prop last week. Caleb Williams over 31.5 passing attempts. Took it last week. Going with
And
it
it
again.
hit last week.
It hit last week. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Again, covered this line 71% of the time this season. Last matchup against Green Bay, the last 2 matchups against Green Bay, he threw the ball for 34 and 35 attempts. He averages 34.5 in his last 10. If they go down, he's going to be slinging it. And like Nico just mentioned, I mean, he has been throwing the football, 23 targets in the last 2 games. Pretty insane, especially for a tight end. So, I mean, he has been throwing the ball. So.
Oddly enough, Nick being on the Packers taking a Bear, and I'm on the Bears taking a Packer. I'm going to go Jordan Love over 220.5 passing yards. This is a team that's going to have to, I think, going to live on. I mean, I know Josh Jacobs is good in his own right, but a team that's going to really you have to utilize all their weapons. And with Christian Watson, with Romeo Dobbs, and if Reed does have a big game, I think that Love passes this mark pretty easily. Again, that Bears defense doesn't necessarily worry me too much. I think that the total is high for this game, but I think it's rightfully so in my opinion. I think it's kind of going to be more of an offensive showcase than really anything else, and that's going to involve a lot of Jordan Love trying to showcase his arm. So.
Sorry, I'm so off topic with one of your notes on the next matchup.
I just saw you update that live.
But before we talk about it, let's press the button.
We got a pick of the week.
Going into this game, it's one of those that a lot of people look at, and it's a big. The more you think about it, it is a toss-up. From surface value, you're looking at the Bills going into Jacksonville, Duval, right? And you're like, the Jacksonville Jaguars have been on an absolute tear. Before I give my input on this game, I do want to notice the fact that Jacksonville is playing the best football that of course, that they have all season, but Trevor Lawrence has been playing outstanding. That whole offense has been on a click. But you're also, here it is. My pick. Going against the Buffalo Bills, my team here. Impossible for me to bet against them in this. In a game where the spread is also this narrow, it just kind of shows how even this game is when you start to when you start to look at both sides.
Can you say your first point as you wrote it, and then as I adjusted it?
Say number 1 in least average passing yards allowed.
You got an English minor, man. Number 1 in least average passing.
I had 20 minutes before I had to go to work. I was spamming that out. Let's highlight the Buffalo side. A lot of things come out when you're looking at Buffalo's losses, and honestly, the stats stand out a lot more in the running department. But something that is, I feel like, underlooked is the fact that Buffalo is the best passing defense in the league. On average, they have allowed 156 point something in passing yards, but that is a very small number compared to what some other teams have allowed through the air. So far, Bills don't maybe get too many takeaways, but they're not really letting the ball get completed too often, and that's a big part of that Jacksonville that offense, right? T-Law's been playing out of his mind, and a lot of it's been through a lot of mid to deep balls of late. Dalton Kincaid also coming back now. We've seen him with some limited usage, but of course they've been resting him here, so that way he's fully good to go when we got to the postseason. And to highlight some things, it's kind of like a good on good in this situation. Buffalo is still the number one rushing offense in the league. You're going up against one of the best rushing defenses in the league. It's going to just be a full clash. Honestly shows up. It depends on who shows up more prepared that day. Also leading the league in second in EPA per rush and third in offensive EPA overall. Now, this game to me is going to come down to what the defensive line for the Buffalo is going to be able to do, not just on the run, but to containing, T-Law. Guy who loves to scramble, but if you look at Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence, both some of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league, Trevor Lawrence being sacked 41 times, Josh Allen being sacked 40 times. So with this being said, I think that you're going to see some of the D-line play some of their best football yet. Sorry if you can hear my dogs, by the way, or my dog. To me, Buffalo kind of it's a huge chance for them, right, to make a postseason run, one that they've tried to do for years and years now. No Mahomes, no Burrow. It's almost like that Campbell meme where he's like, this may have been our only shot. I think this is Buffalo's easiest route to the Super Bowl in a playoffs where a lot of defenses are better than their offense, and they kind of just have to clear this hurdle of a team that's real hot. But this is adversity to me that Buffalo has played many times. So one more part against Jacksonville here. In terms of their defense against tight ends, they have allowed some of the most yards to tight ends as well as 8 passing touchdowns to tight ends. If you look at teams that have allowed passing touchdowns in general, usually in the mid 20s, maybe an average defense mid 20s mark. Jacksonville, while they have been a very good defense of late, sits right around that mid 20s to upper 20s mark. 8, by the way, of tight end position. So we all know Buffalo plays through Kincaid. I think that the Bills really thrive in the chaotic situations where Josh Allen has to scramble. Hero ball aside, that is kind of where they find a lot of their offense outside of Cook. So I'm taking Buffalo here to just really advance money line wise. You can take -1.5 if you'd like, but it's kind of a controversial one. But I still like my Bills in this one.
I got a little distracted from Nick drinking from the largest water bottle I've ever seen. Can you put that back in frame?
It's my gallon. You have
pull it
to
up
hit
here?
your water goal.
Oh my God,
Dude, he just picks it up like
Gallon.
this.
to the face.
Listen. Well, did you say what challenge we were doing last week on the pod?
No.
For context?
He didn't even have a resolution.
Oh. Well, my resolution is to finish the 75-day challenge that we're doing.
Yeah, it sucked so far. But
Yeah.
to go off of this Buffalo Jacksonville game, you're talking about, like, just as you said, Buffalo, the team that is averaging the most rushing yards per game, facing Jacksonville, a defense that gives up the least amount of rushing yards per game. Jacksonville's never had, or so far this season has not allowed a running back to rush over 80 yards. And we've seen the offense, continue to take care of business. And for that reason, I am taking Jacksonville. I mean, another home dog. But yeah, when you look at these teams, they do match up really well, I think this is going to be the most exciting matchup out of this first round, just because I think these are two very similar teams, but at the same time, a Jacksonville team that relies a little bit more on the pass and a Buffalo team that relies inherently through the run game. So it's an interesting one. I don't like betting against Josh Allen, but to be honest, I do think there are going to be some dogs that need to escape this first round. And for me, it is Jacksonville. I'm going to take that home field advantage. And the prop that I do like with this pick is, funny enough, with the Bills, but I'm going to take James Cook over 14.5 receiving yards. I feel like it's a really, really small line. He doesn't get too many passes out of the backfield. It's a lot of Ty Johnson there, but I'm asking for one screen. I think that if the script goes the way I think it is, and Jacksonville is going to be the team that is going to be prevailing in this, I think Josh is going to have to throw a little bit more. And I don't think this is a defense that is going to necessarily let you air it out downfield. So a lot of Shakir, but I think James Cook is going to have a couple passes out of the backfield.
Tyrell Shaver's 30 bomb.
God, no. I'm also on the Jags. I'm also on the Jags here. Kind of with your reasoning with the Green Bay Chicago game with this narrow line, I kind of like the home underdog here. I think it's better value. I just think with the addition of Jacoby Myers being added to Trevor Lawrence and just guys like Brenton Strange and Parker Washington have stepped up these last few weeks. The defense has looked really good. I think, especially with their hot streak that they've been on and at home, I think Jacksonville has a chance to pull it off against Buffalo. I know Buffalo is probably going to be heavier favorites heading into Sunday, especially if the line already flipped. But I do like Jacksonville in the spot. And going with that, I'm also on a Jaguar for my prop of the week. I'm going with Trevor Lawrence over 4.5 rush attempts, minus 145 on DraftKings. I went with this especially just because if it is this kind of nitty gritty game and also 52.5 total, which is very high scoring. We've already seen that Trevor Lawrence has no problem taking it into the end zone with that on the goal line. Not only that, he's also shown that he's pretty agile behind the pocket. If, like you were saying, Greg Rousseau and Joey Bosa are going to be able to get to him, I see him having to scramble out of the pocket a lot. He's also hit this line a good amount of times. I don't have the numbers up in front of me at the moment. My fault. But I'm going with over 4.5 rush attempts.
Imagine if it cashes on a kneel. I had that happen to me in a parlay earlier this year. I had JJ McCarthy cash because he knelt to end the game.
That would be awesome.
I think I had an over not cash because Mahomes kneeled or like purposely did one of those things where he like goes back 3 yards and then just goes down.
That's the scary thing with QB rushing yards.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But Baker Mayfield, right? You know, that's a clear good one. But
sorry. Just because you mentioned Baker, yeah. Sorry about last week's prop pick with Shadur.
Shadingus.
Unfortunately, yeah, when the Browns defense returns to a pick six and a strip six, and he only gets 8 minutes of offense in the first half.
In the second quarter, I said in the second quarter, I was like, I don't know if Shadur's going to see the field much at all.
It was unreal. If he actually had a normal amount of time, he would have been fine.
Last thing I'll say about this Bills game before I get my pick real quick, I think, D-line wise, you got 2 guys on the edge rushers there who are pretty scary for any offensive line to have to go against. Bosa and Rousseau, both guys who are very capable of limiting, what that pocket looks like. Don't know if Ed Oliver is going to be back for the Bills. I don't think he's going to be ready by next week, but apparently he is trending in the right direction. We'll see where that goes. But my pick for this game going to be Dalton Kincaid over 36.5 receptions to me. So receptions. He's going to haul in 36 of them. Every time Josh throws the ball, it's him and he's catching it. No, 36.5 receiving yards. This is a line that Kincaid has crossed. I think he's hit the 40s most of every game that he's played this year. I know some injuries and things have plagued him down as of lately, but this is going to be a big game where Josh, if he is throwing the ball, it's going to be to Kincaid. It's going to be to his tight ends a lot. That's where Buffalo finds a lot more of their success on offense. So I'm going to take 36.5 here with, honestly, some pretty good confidence. Yeah.
And now we're into Sunday. New day of football.
Nope. 4:30. Nope.
Yeah, we've been in Sunday.
Oh,
we've been in Sunday.
Sorry,
church is over.
I did, yeah. I'm thrown. Sunday 4:30 game.
This is. Yep. Nice. There we go.
San Fran at Philadelphia. Eagles minus 4.5. A Eagles team that I'm not gonna say. I'm not actually. This I feel like the last 4 episodes I've said an Eagles team that we but San Francisco. Led by Kyle Shanahan, one of my favorite minds in football.
They are.
That is the head coach.
I'm leading into it, man. I gotta let you intro one of. Well, granted, you did intro the last one for your pick, but I don't know. Long story short on this one, I have San Fran plus 4.5. I think that this offense is really in just like another world right now. I'm skeptical about the defense, yes, but if this ends up being a shootout type of scenario. I do trust Shanahan and his offense more than Sirianni. I even think, as crazy as it sounds, like if this is a first round exit for Philly and it's bad, like I think Sirianni could be out the door when we see all the interesting head coach options. We saw Harbaugh get fired. So
crazy.
I don't know. I think the script looks well. I was kind of surprised seeing this at 4.5. To be honest, I thought this line was going to be closer to like 2.5. But yeah, I'm on San Fran.
I was also, spreadsheets before. There's a lot of both. I don't know if all 3 of us were, but I think Nico and I were both on Philly minus 4.5.
Oh no, we all were.
We all were.
We
Yeah,
all
we,
were.
you take a deep breath in. You're like, what has this Philly team like proven, really?
No. You gotta
And
say it as it happened. About like 30 minutes before recording, I said
oh,
in this Discord, why are we all in
yeah,
Philadelphia?
Nico started the trend. He was like,
Yeah. Yeah,
he's like,
they,
why are we all on Philadelphia? Have they really shown that they're 4.5? And we're like, we all just take a second. We're
no.
like, no, not at all.
They
So we all
couldn't
flipped
even
it to
cover
Philly.
7
Or yeah, we all flipped to Philly.
against the
We all
Commanders.
flipped it to San Francisco. And for me, this is because like that 49ers offense has been on a roll at excluding a game going against the best team in the NFC. But now you're going against a Philly team that defensively is solid. I'm not gonna lie, the Eagles have a good framework for their defense, but like that offense for the 49ers has been on a roll. I would go as far as to say I trust Brock Purdy in this game more than I trust Jalen Hurts if I'm the Eagles. So that defense for the 49ers is definitely like worrisome in ways, but offensively, your offense for San Francisco is going to produce, projected to produce at a much higher efficiency than I think anything that we've seen from Philadelphia all year. So gonna lay the 4.5 here in favor. Well, not in favor, but backing plus 4.5 for San Francisco. Wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if there was an upset. With that being said, I'm gonna actually fade an Eagle here. Gonna go Devontae Smith under 55.5 receiving yards. Overall, this season for him, I think, has been very underwhelming. He's always been a guy who plays, behind or kind of alongside with AJ Brown, but even then, AJ Brown, we know how that season's gone for him so far. And through this, he's missed this line his last 5 games. And frankly, Jalen Hurts' arm does not scare me this year. I don't think that he's making the most of his opportunities, and I don't think that Devontae Smith is really going to be the factor this week for the Eagles.
Yeah, for me, I think especially with the line at -4.5, kind of to go on your point with Jalen Hurts, like it just depends on which version of Hurts we're going to be getting against this San Fran team. Is it going to be the one that can't throw a check down, or is it going to be the one that's spot on with his throws? The other thing about this team too is like Philly's known for just chewing the clock, running the ball out. So I know Shanahan's probably got a good game plan going into this. And I mean, Purdy, especially with the amount of time that he's missed with the turf toe since he's came back, he looks like he hasn't missed a step, if you see what I did there. I mean, that offense is clicking. I mean, aside on the defensive standpoint, aside from them only being able to put up 3 points against the best defense in the league, statistically in the NFL, I mean, again, they only held Seattle down to 13 points aside from that Zach Charbonnet touchdown last week. I mean, the defense held their own against a pretty good offense as well. But I'm liking San Fran on this. I like Kyle Shanahan. I think he has a good game plan. And I think Sirianni is also on the hot seat. I mean, he's kind of been on the hot seat this whole season, especially with all the A.J. Brown drama. But to lead into my prop, now, my prop, it's an anytime touchdown. Fucking sue me. But my pick, going with CMC anytime. And I'm only doing that because the odds are -135. I think this is really, really good value for any time for Christian McCaffrey anytime, and his odds are usually at -185 to -200. But I mean, if I just scrolled down, I'm sorry. If the Niners are gonna score, EMC's probably gonna be in the end zone at one of those points, especially at a total of 44.5. That's not too low; it's pretty high. But if the Philly defense kind of plays lackluster like they have in the last few weeks. I know last week they benched all their starters, but still, I see CMC getting a lot of utilization, not necessarily in the run game, also the pass game.
I won't lie that I think that if the Niners score, CMC is likely going to be one or the other at some point. My only quarry with that is like last week. I'm not gonna lie, I took a Derrick Henry anytime in one of my parlays. It was like -175. I mean, motherfucker had over 100 yards, but didn't touch the end zone. So, but nevertheless, that offense is kind of limited to like Kittle, Jennings, but McCaffrey's at the top of that pecking order. So I don't hate your pick at all, but
And
minus
speaking,
100 odds to me, -100 to -35 still is just kind of scary for something that's never like really guaranteed. But I like it still.
No, it's guaranteed. Take it.
Fair enough. The confidence is on fire.
I'm rolling with George Kittle over 59.5 receiving yards. Just going through his his game log. The Seattle game 13-3, 7 targets, had the opportunity there, but only 30 yards. But before that, a lot of the injury woes, but 115 versus the Colts, 88 versus the Titans, 67 versus the Browns, 78 versus the Panthers, 67 versus the Cardinals, 84 versus the Rams. We're talking about, in his what did I just say there? In the last 8 games, he's gone 7 for 8. That actually would have been crazy if it was 3 times over in one sentence. But yeah, minus 111, I think it's really good value. And yeah, but if Purdy's not throwing to McCaffrey, I mean, Kittle should be getting a decent amount of targets here. Scrolling down, we've got the Sunday night game, the Chargers at the Patriots. Patriots minus 3.5. This game. Try to avoid my bias here. Obviously, we got some Patriots fans rooting for a victory, and ironically enough, both Patriots fans following on New England. But this is a Chargers team that, yes, I'm a Justin Herbert stan. Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in the league for me. But personally, I can't stand behind that O-line. You're talking about an O-line that on PFF is ranked 31st in pass block, 32nd in run block, one of the lowest graded offensive lines to ever make the playoffs. So for me, I can't stand by it, and I think the line is a little crazy. I'd really like 2.5, but I'm gonna stay with 3.5 here on New England.
Well, here I come again to be the only guy going against that pick. Something I mentioned right before we started recording, and before I get the whole fucking area of New England on my ass. I went to school in Massachusetts for 4 years, so we're all friends at the end of the day. Patriots haven't necessarily had a schedule to me that and I'm not disproving or going at Drake May's season or his efficiency at all. I think Drake May's played out of his mind this year. That Patriots offense has looked great, but I don't think that they've really seen much of a crazy test from any team other than maybe Buffalo, and the best other defense that they played this year probably going to be Cleveland.
They played an Atlanta defense that was pretty good. They played
enough,
Pittsburgh,
but I
that's a
also-
playoff team.
I think don't bring up Pittsburgh like that's really that big of a threat.
They were this
but
close
I
to
think-
sweeping Buffalo this
I
year.
think the Chargers.
Mm.
Yeah, but then they let up 31 unanswered.
This
Um,
close.
I think the Chargers are a team that's been very used to at this point. I mean, they have to be very used to the fact that Herbert's going to have to be, running for a lot of the offensive production there. That defense, it's in and of itself, is something that you really can't discount. That game against Philly was just so locked down on so many levels that I think that this is a very well coached team. It makes me nervous just for that New England's schedule strength to be going against a team like Los Angeles that has a lot more to offer on the defensive end and a much better quarterback than I think a lot of some of these other teams have thrown at the Patriots. So Chargers have been used to offensive line injuries this entire year, and I'm laying the plus 3.5. I think the Patriots could definitely win this game. I just don't think it's going to be past that 3.5 mark.
Yeah, I'm being biased as fuck. Fuck the Chargers. Fuck Justin Herbert. I'm rolling with my dogs. I'm rolling with the guys that are 13-3, almost got the fucking 1 seed and lost to both fucking Knicks to it, by the way. Bullshit. Will Campbell coming back fully healthy. They got Milton Williams back, activated off of IR. I mean, their D line looked a little rough after those guys went down, but they're coming back fully healthy against this terrible offensive line. Their run game has been solid. Ramondre has looked amazing these last 2 weeks. I know it's been garbage time, but still, I mean, that's what you want to see, especially your 2 running backs getting good usage heading into this. And I mean, Drake May, we've already talked about him being in MVP conversations, but I think he stays on this hot streak. They're at home. Yeah, fucking Pats by 1 million. I don't give a shit. Fuck the Chargers. Chargers are gonna break your heart again, Brooklyn. I'm sorry.
I'm not putting money on them, man. Don't worry about it.
All right.
I like Hunter Henry to finish with over 3.5 catches this week at minus 137. Hunter Henry, when in doubt, you just throw it at 85, right on the 8-yard line. I don't have the game log up just yet, but I know that last week he hit his incentives, had 5 on the season or 5 in the game. But just to look it up here, just going through his week by week, he had 3 against the Jets, 6 against the Ravens. Only 1 against Buffalo, 4 against the Giants, 7 against the Bengals. But target rates, he's only had 1 game or 2 games out of his last 7 with less than 3 targets.
Something's The funny bugs in the air. Oh man.
Oh my god.
Nick, did you not get a new prop? This is gonna be an
No, no, I'm
interesting.
not. I'm leaving it.
Alrighty. Well, there's a certain script. There's a certain scenario where
There's a
all of
certain
this happens.
script. There's a certain
Scenario where
script,
all this
and
happens.
one
So
of us is gonna be pissed off, and that's for sure not gonna be me.
Hunter Henry is going to get 4 checkdowns, right? Drake May is going to throw them all to the line of scrimmage. It's going to go nowhere. But
I
then Drake
so I have over Drake May 274 pass and rushing yards and minus 113. Um, I think, especially with the passing line of which one you're about to hear after my pick, I think it's pretty low combined with rushing yards. I think if this is a game where the defensive line on the Chargers end gets to Drake May, he's going to be able to use his legs. I mean, he kind of showcased it in the Baltimore game. Um, I hope the script that we're talking about happens, but yeah, I like the value here.
and I have Drake May under 242 and a half passing yards. So you see, there is a route where this all happens. Drake May gets stopped at around the 200 mark, and is the lead rusher for the Patriots at the same time, which all things considered isn't out of the picture for him to still cover that line. It's pretty hard, but 242 and a half through the air in your first playoff game. Nevertheless, against a very stout defense in the Chargers itself, I think that number is just that projection's a little high, and we know how prolific that May has been through the air, but we also have seen against some of the better passing defenses like Buffalo, where he struggled a little bit, didn't even crack 200 yards in a regular season game against the league's best passing defense. So that being said, I think that there's a lot more for the Patriots to kind of I think they're going to try to tempo control this game a little bit more, and I don't necessarily think May is going to be airing it out the entire game. They have two big options in Stevenson and Travion Henderson that I don't think it's going to require him to sling it.
He can run it. That's fine.
That's fine. He can run it for 100 passing yards, or 100 passing yards, 100 yards.
He can run it for 100 passing yards.
He can cover that 274 and a half with a combination of passing and rushing, as long as he doesn't cross over 242 and a half.
Not saying I recommend anybody to do this, because I wouldn't, but I just put your two legs in a parlay. Didn't place it, just want to see the odds, because you're asking for a margin of like 30 yards, and just those two legs, both at minus 113 and minus 114, would be a parlay, a two-leg parlay of plus 1,200. So I don't think we've ever seen two of us pick props that are like quite literally all like the closest
fading each other.
Yeah, the closest thing you could be to fading a prop without picking the prop.
Each other to the same player, just over under.
But there is a world. Oh, there is a world.
There's some way that it happens.
And jumping into our last game.
Heading over to Monday night.
We got a pick of the week.
All right. Last week I wasn't here to defend my pick of the week. Not that it would have made a fucking difference anyways. But this week I'm here to defend my pick. Houston at Pittsburgh. Houston favored -3. We are rolling with the Texans. First of all, this is a Pittsburgh team that made the playoffs off of a missed fucking field goal. Okay? Let's just get that straight. They won the division not doing anything. They would have lost the game. The rookie kicker missed the fucking field goal. Let's just get that out of the way. Going into this, Houston finished the season ranked number 1 in defense. They're the third best pass rate in the NFL, best pass rush in the NFL. They also won 8 games in a row. So put that into context. They haven't lost in 2 months. Obviously, this offense, it's a big concern going into it. I mean, CJ Stroud, how is he going to perform? Is he going to struggle? Or is he going to play like how we started against the Chargers the last 2 weeks, where his first 2 drives resulted in 2 passing touchdowns? But on the Pittsburgh side of this, like I said, like at this point, they're just they're playing to prove why they should be there. Steelers, however, fun fact, 23 consecutive wins on Monday Night Football. So there's a little bit more going into it, especially as underdogs, home underdogs. DK Metcalf is actually going to be playing this week. He's back from his suspension. Also, a lot of narrative in the QB situation, like what's Aaron Rodgers going to do? Is he gonna come back? Is he gonna be pissed if they
He's gonna
lose?
die.
So
He's
there's a
not
lot
coming
of
back because he's gonna die to this Houston D line.
that's facts. Um, I think at -3, I think that line is very generous against Houston, or I think it's very generous in Pittsburgh's favor. When you have a 40-plus-year-old quarterback, especially under center, going up against this Houston D line, uh, you're gonna have some issues. And I know the Houston defense the last 2 weeks hasn't looked great. I mean, granted, Riley Leonard was able to put up 26 points on them last week, but it was week 18. I mean, they already clinched the playoff spot. Um, so I mean, heading into this week, Nico Collins healthy scratch last week. He's going to be fully healthy this week. I really do think that a lot of the guys that we've been seeing, especially their rookie receivers on Houston, are going to step up this week. And that's leading into my prop of the week. I'm going Xavier Hutchinson over 14.5 receiving yards. He looked great last week. Actually found the end zone. I think that's what he needed. And especially too, if Nico Collins, all the attention is going to be on Nico Collins because Houston has been struggling in the run game. They do have an EPA run play of -6.16, so not great. Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, but I do think that Xavier Hutchinson is going to have to step up here. Someone in this Houston receiving room is going to step up, and I do think it's going to be him. So 14.5 receiving yards, -114. Rolling with Houston on Monday night. Fuck Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I was about to say it's about damn time we all came together on one, but then we did have San Francisco. But I think this is one that we all took like unanimously. No one really had to flip over. I don't think anyone was like, I think Pittsburgh is gonna cover. Yeah,
I said this. I texted this after the game the other
yeah,
night,
dude,
and
it's
you called me
terrifying.
crazy.
Well, I mean, I like to err on the side of like each game has, especially now, each game has so much importance to it that you never know when a team is going to actually put up like the fight of their life type of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it. I
one thing
think
that
if this was Baltimore, it's a little different. Sorry to cut you off, but
absolutely
I
no,
mean,
you're good. I think the
compared to
offensive
who it
potency
was.
of Baltimore is so much stronger than Pittsburgh. I don't care what the end score of that game was like. That I don't. Baltimore season being over there is not a result of like that field goal. That team has had so many injuries that have just kept them not being the team that we all thought they were going to be to begin with. But me on Houston as well, -3. No reason really to ride with Pittsburgh here. I don't think that that offensive line has been okay for the most part for Pittsburgh, but at the same time, you're now going against the best defensive line in football, the best defense overall in football now. And I don't think Unk is going to be able to outrun Daniel Hunter and is it Will Anderson? Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter. I don't think Rodgers' 41-year-old legs and that partially or that Achilles is really going to be able to make him scramble that well. And that being said, like that offense, who does that really come out of, right? DK hasn't been that good. It's like Ken Gainwell and like Jonnu Smith.
I was gonna say Ken Gainwell, the running back, who's now like basically a receiver for them.
Yeah, and then Johnny Smith, who's now like a running back. Like what?
Yeah. I don't.
But yeah,
I
I
don't.
don't see many routes to how like Pittsburgh stays, necessarily dominant in this. I do think that Houston has some questions to answer in terms of their offensive efficiency. I think Stroud is super hot and cold, and that receiving room, you don't know who's going to really have a day, but it's never necessarily like that crazy. But yeah, no, I still like Houston here to win by that field goal. I think that defense is going to keep Pittsburgh pretty limited. My pick for this game, prop should say, it is going to be Stroud under passing yards. I think that when the lights are bright, he doesn't necessarily perform too well. What we saw in that game against the Chargers, like, he put up two big bombs in the first quarter, but like that was it. And all season long, I don't think that Houston's necessarily won games because of their offense, right? So I am going to go here Stroud under 232.5 with a Houston -3.
Yeah, you guys talked about Houston enough for me. D line very good, defense very good. For me, especially when you watch the Monday night game, seeing Baltimore kind of drive down the field pretty easily. Like, yeah, they missed a field goal, but let's not talk about how much time it took for them to get into field goal range. I mean, Keaton Mitchell had a good return, but you saw Likely make a big catch in the secondary. You saw some blown coverages, and the Steelers defense, it's showed why it should be top 10, but in reality, it's been middle of the pack for a lot of the year. And I don't think it's going to be able to suffice versus C.J. Stroud and the Texans. With that being said, I think that Pittsburgh is going to have some scenarios to get down the field, but won't necessarily find the end zone. And that's why at -136, I love Chris Boswell to get 2+ field goals. With that being said, that's it for spreadsheets this week. We still, I like that we got to explore them a little bit longer than normal, but that does leave us to the game that I've been so excited for because I really want to see how you guys
Wait,
do.
what about our Super Bowl champion?
Oh.
Our Super Bowl champion picks.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of spoiled yours already, but kind of talking, if you were to bet on a team to win the Super Bowl right now, who would it be?
Well, I already spoiled mine, but I actually made this bet earlier today. I'm taking the LA Rams. I mean, statistically, the best offense in football, fully healthy. I think Matt Stafford's out to win another one, especially at his age. Same thing with Devontae Adams. I think the offense is hungry, and I mean they're clicking with Puka and Adams and Kyron fully healthy. They're dangerous, and I mean especially even if they match up against Seattle in the NFC Championship, I think LA takes that this time around. They've had two really close matchups, and they put 30 points up against the best defense in the league. So, I think with the amount of tests that they had and the fluke losses came in the regular season, I'm as much as it pains me as a Patriots fan, I want to take the Patriots, but being realistic here, I'm going with the best team in football statistically, so I like LA.
I guess then you could say being unrealistic. No, I don't ever like to bet against the Bills. I think there's only been maybe a handful of times that I've ever done that. But now that we're in the postseason race, um, if Buffalo can clear Jacksonville, and if somehow I don't know. Sorry, I didn't look at the playoff picture completely. They wouldn't be in line to play Houston next, would they?
It all depends on who wins what. Like according to your
Denver plays the lowest seed, technically. So
Denver.
so Houston's the 4. If LA wins, this weekend, then Denver immediately would play LA. So then maybe they would get matched up. It would be Houston, Buffalo, if they won.
Well,
So you don't want the Chargers to win.
I guess we don't want the Chargers to win, so I'll take the loss in the spreadsheet just for the sake of futures. But I am going to go with the Bills here to go all the way. I think that this is a year that, with the competition in the Super Bowl, sorry, yeah, we're just jumping right to it. With the competition in the playoffs, this is a year where Buffalo can be like, this is like our real shot. We don't have Mahomes, we don't have Burrow, we don't have Lamar. It's a slew of other teams. I never saw the Bears be the 2 seed this year, but I think this is Buffalo's biggest shot to actually have a path to the Super Bowl with the competition that's currently in the playoffs. So I did call me crazy, place money on the Bills to win it all. So I'm gonna go hope for good luck there, but I'm gonna go for my team.
and like the theme of the episode, agreeing with Nick. I'm on the Rams here. Again, I feel like I've loved them all year. Best team against the spread, and yeah, just all around the most well-rounded team that we've got. But that's it for wild card round for this week. We'll be seeing how those go for next episode. But episode's not over just yet. I got that fancy little graphic that should be popping up on your screens right about now. Well, not you guys, but post editing.
Right.
Between you two, Nick did finish above in the spreadsheet, so I only think it's fair he goes first. The game that we're doing, you see with the graphic here, I've got this is ranking the top 25 players with the most total touchdowns in their career, whether it's receiving or rushing. The way the game works, Nick goes first. You guys get 3 strikes. Whoever has the most correct before 3 strikes wins. And if by chance you get the whole board, that's why there's 25. So for Nick, way to go first. You pick the number, the team, and you tell me what player it is.
All right. Well, to start, I'll go with the first one. I'll go with 127 with the Baltimore Ravens. I'll go with King Henry.
Correct.
Nice.
Now
These are going to be currents, right?
Yeah, so it's the top 25 players in the league with the most touchdowns in their career. So you got to think on throughout their entire career. These aren't the youngest guys in the league.
I mean, Buccaneers got to be Mike Evans.
Yes.
Nice. 67, the Raiders. Give me Tyler Lockett.
That's crazy that's where you go next, but that's correct.
This one might be my first strike. I'm gonna go Houston. I'm gonna go Nick Chubb.
No.
Okay. I have a feeling he had to
Wow.
be healthy enough to get
Was
that
my
high.
guess.
Guys, there's
I
so
said
much
this
on the
before we-
board.
I said that I want to be different. All right, fine. 117 Rams. Give me Devontae Adams.
There you go.
Yeah, I probably should have
Yeah.
gone. That was the clear one. 98. 98's gotta be. Or sorry,
The crazy one.
Niners. Niners has to be McCaffrey.
Yep.
Okay.
73 Washington Commanders. Can I have Zach Ertz, please?
Incorrect.
What?
I think that one was gonna stump you guys.
Damn.
87 is that Kamara?
That is Kamara. For if you're curious though, Zach Ertz was very close to this list. Zach Ertz, it was actually he's 29th in the league in total touchdowns.
96 Dolphins. Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Got another Raven for 85. Oh, this one could bite me in the ass. I'm gonna go D-Hop.
Bang.
I was gonna. Yeah. That's yeah. Fuckers. Hmm.
Currently an even game here.
81 for the Bills. Josh Allen.
Incorrect. Mind you, it's not passing touchdowns. It's receiving and rushing.
I know.
You're already at 2
Fuck.
strikes.
Is 85 on the Chiefs gonna be Kelsey?
That is Kelsey.
It has to
Yeah, no
be.
shit.
Why didn't you take it?
The two Eagles have me stumped because they don't know which one is which. Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Mm,
Jeez, if you get knocked out early,
which one?
we might be
Chief
forced
did you
to.
say?
He said Travis Kelsey.
Chief, did I say? I said Kelsey.
Mind you,
number?
I'm gonna 85. I'm gonna say this
85.
again. This is
okay.
this is receiving and rushing touchdowns.
I understand that. 76 Colts have Jonathan Taylor.
There you go.
That'll
Okay.
be crazy. 71 Eagles is gonna be Saquon.
It is Saquon.
Oh, I was gonna say I've seen a lot more Saquon more than one touchdown games than any other Eagle.
Fucker. Patriots one has me in for a loop there.
Interesting.
Fuck. Brooklyn got the Texans one wrong, right?
Yeah.
You said 74.
Yeah, he said Nick Chubb.
This is where it gets a little interesting here. Bills 62. Could I have?
That's one of the hardest ones.
Fuck. Never mind. Is 63 for the Lions David Montgomery?
Yes. Okay.
Thinking about, I mean, he was on the Bears for like 3 years before he got traded. So
62 touchdowns on the Bills. I want to see if I can nail this. Which one did Nick try to guess before?
the 81.
I'm gonna go 62, and I'm gonna go Josh.
Wait, I might have actually before you do that. I might have made a mistake. I just
I
double
hate
checking
you.
it now. 81 was Josh
Nice.
Allen.
Oh my God!
So then I think I
So
deserve that.
right.
I think I deserve that back. Then.
Strike. I only have one strike
Yeah,
then.
so I
I think I
reversed the
deserve that
strike.
back.
No, you could just because I know you were
Okay.
about to go, so that's why I have the list up now.
Well, I had said 62 Josh, but
Yeah, so act like
now
you know.
it's 80 or 81's Josh.
Yes.
Okay. Who's a Bill?
I was right.
Who's a Bill that? It's. I don't know what Cook has, but I don't know. Oh. This would be crazy because he's low key. Dave Davis.
Oh
Davis.
no, you're wrong.
Is it?
He's not even on the team anymore.
No, he is.
He is?
You were on the right mind.
Oh, he
You
is?
had the right track
Oh.
to that answer, and you gave the wrong answer. So
Quick
that's
as hell,
that's
but
strike
not Gabe Davis.
strike number 2.
62 for the Bills. Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
No.
Yeah, there's no shot he has
No.
62
MVS has
touchdowns.
logged 62 touchdowns.
MVS is on the Steelers.
He. Oh.
Uh,
I just cut that guess out.
All right, so
You
you
should
got-
have just
so
given
now
me
you
the
guys-
strike back.
Yeah, currently you
Well,
both
they
have 2
do.
strikes. Nick is at 4, 5, 6. Brooklyn is at 6. You guys are tied. Still some obvious ones. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know. I just haven't crossed them out on my screen. I'm still looking at numbers I think have been picked already.
I can tell you what's remaining.
Packers is
That's
gone,
easier.
right?
No, Packers is still there.
76 for the Packers. Is it Josh Jacobs?
It is Josh Jacobs.
Oh, thank the Lord.
Back to you, Nick.
73 touchdowns for the Chiefs. Has that been guessed?
That has not been guessed.
You have Kareem Hunt.
Bang! There we go. Currently, to tell you what's still remaining, Patriots, Texans, Commanders, Vikings, Cardinals, Chargers, Steelers, Eagles, Seahawks.
73 Jettas.
No. And that's your last
Means I'm out,
strike.
right?
That means
I mean, I'm out.
you're out. So
I have
hold
to
up.
get one right. No, he got that one right, and then I got one right. So we're still tied. I have to get
This
one
is to
right
win.
to win.
Yeah, this is to win. Or else you guys just keep going, I guess.
Oh, I know who it is. Fuck me.
Oh, yeah. Can I do 73 Vikings? Can I do Aaron Jones, please?
And there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick takes the win. Just to tell you the ones that you did not get. 75 for the Patriots, Stephon Diggs.
I know it. That felt too obvious.
74
But
for the
he's
Texans,
low key.
Joe Mixon.
Oh, I
Oh,
forgot
shit.
he's right. He
70,
didn't play.
73 for the
He didn't play all
Commanders,
year.
Austin Eckler.
Oh, my god.
Oh my God. He died earlier this year. right?
72 for the Cardinals, James Conner.
Oh my God.
71 for the Chargers, Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Oh, but
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so obvious. Fuck me.
Uh,
That's horrible.
66 on the Steelers. Any guesses?
Uh,
Not Johnu.
no.
Wait, no way. It's John.
He signed
No
he
way.
signed less than halfway through the season. Like
Thielen?
that is Adam Thielen.
Oh my god, it is. Yeah, oh my, yeah. okay.
63 is Jalen Hurts. Brooklyn, this had when you said Gabe Davis, this would have me laughing because you originally said Cook, like James Cook, and you said, oh no, it's an Unk receiver, and the answer is Brandon Cooks.
Oh. Damn it.
Yeah, a guy who also signed it. You know, it's funny. Fucking what was his name? Curtis
Who was
Samuel.
Seattle?
Cooper Cup.
Curtis Samuel was.
You're muted.
I'm muted. Okay. No, that's funny because like that's tough because when you say Brandon Cooks, that's also a guy who was signed halfway through the season. I remember Curtis Samuel was number 18, and then Brandon Cooks just signs and then becomes number 18.
That was fun though to watch you guys react to. Not gonna lie, that was good.
That was fun. That was actually good.
I hope some people at home were screaming at you guys. And next week, so one of you guys has to make the game because I want to play.
Yeah, I'm sure some guy was like, dude, it's Brandon Cooks. Come on.
Sorry for saying Marquez
Saints
Valdez-Scantling.
super fan.
So
Any former Chiefs receiver has a chance of having at least 10 plus touchdowns if you play with Mahomes on your career. That's all I have to say.
that's fair. Socials, as always, are going to be like that _pod. Again, picks of the week recap. I'm on the Rams at 10.5. Nick is on Houston -3, and Brooklyn with his Super Bowl winner, the Bills, at -1.5. And that's all from me, guys. Like I end every episode, I hope we come back with a lot of green on that spreadsheet.
Damn right. Go Pats.
Bills by 1.5, not a million, but by 1.5.